I was very aware in the beginning that I thought that if it would affect us, we would have to not work together. It would be much easier rather than jeopardise, our love and our friendship. But it's actually worked out really well, and I'm thrilled.
You're listening to the She Renovates podcast. You're listening to She Renovates, the podcast for women who want to renovate to create an income and a life they love.
Hello everyone. So today I have a very special pair of women, Lilah and Mary Nieuwland. Now I'm going to read the little bio that we've got here. So they are a mother and daughter who have worked together for 4 years and renovate homes to either Airbnb or sell for profit. They also manage 4 Airbnb properties, have renovated 5 properties and have 2 Reno projects in the pipeline. They decided to collaborate after attending an inspirational talk by me. So I'm certainly going to repeat that. They signed up to the School of Renovating, which gave them not only the training and confidence they needed, but equally important, gave them the group support and the family of people who helped them through challenges and celebrated each and every goal they kicked in their journey. So thank you for that lovely little intro. I guess what I wanted to talk about today is really focus on Airbnb because that's your speciality. But firstly, do you want to just share a little bit about the current projects that you have on the go, the renovation projects that you're doing?
Okay, so at the moment we're just finishing a joint venture in Wood End. It should be on the open market in the next week or two. Been saying that for a few weeks now. I'm sure I will eventually.
It will get finished.
I will get my balcony railing eventually.
Yeah.
We've also just finished a small bathroom renovation in South Melbourne, and I suppose we're a little bit under the pump because the tiler's still there. The people are moving in tomorrow, and it's all
It'll be done.
It'll be done.
It'll
We
be
keep
right.
saying it'll be done, but we're a bit.
Yeah.
And we've just prepared Port Melbourne to go on the market. So we've had the photos taken, and this is in between clients. So we've got a very good agent who
We had half a day between someone moving out and someone moving in. So he came and did the photos in that gap. And then we've got a 2-week gap in November from someone's in there now for 7 weeks, and then 2-week gap, and then I think someone's there for another month.
Yes.
So they'll do the campaign in those 2 weeks.
Those 2 weeks. So.
That's tight.
Yeah, I know. But anyway, that'll go. And then Lilah's got a new project starting in January, which she's already working on now.
Yeah. A 4-bedroom house in Wood End on a bit of acreage that they want to turn an old 70s brick house into a French country house. So that's going to be fun.
And so look at you going off doing your own projects. That's awesome.
Yep,
Yeah.
very good.
It's projects like a dream project.
Yeah, it is.
It's what you'd love to do for yourself.
Yeah, it's going to be very fun.
But you already have the French country house, both of you actually.
True. It'll be easy.
But yeah, no, I think that's really good, and I'm loving. So that's the value of having multiple sort of strategies in your toolkit. So being able to fill in the gaps with projects for someone else is it's a great. So you're a textbook case of really making the most of renovating.
Yes.
So firstly, I wanted to ask about you working together. So what sort of impact does that have on your relationship? Because I really believe in the ripple effect in what we're doing, and I think that you epitomise that, the fact that you've been able to create a life and a business out of it. But what does that mean for your relationship? Do you need to set boundaries around what you do, have defined roles, and how does that work?
Well, I think first of all you have to like each other.
That helps.
That helped. For me, it was obviously because I was in the business to start with, and then Lilah came into it, was actually learning to step back and not be the mother and just listen and know that she also has great insight. So I would say now, after 4 years, the roles are probably reversed, and I just do what I get told.
You argue about it, and then you do as you're
I argue
told.
about it, and then I think, okay, probably. No, it's been good. It hasn't affected our relationship, and probably I think we've got a stronger bond. I was very aware in the beginning that I thought that if it would affect us, we would have to not work together. It would be much easier rather than jeopardise, our love and our friendship. But it's actually worked out really well, and I'm thrilled.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What about you, Lilah?
So I do mainly all the managing and dealing with all the clients and things, and Mum usually just comes help do changeovers, and if we're doing like a little reno here or there and things like that, or if I can't get somewhere, she steps in. But yeah, it's been really good.
Yeah, awesome. And I also think that the other day, because I used to have a corporate cafe and catering business, and the other day our family was talking about how all the kids went through and worked there when they were going to uni, and David reminded me of how many times I sacked him. It wasn't really as bad as that, but oh my God. He was he was at that teenage phase where he's very, when they're quite challenging and have their, so you've obviously done well.
Yeah, no one's been sacked yet.
So, but it's a great, way to build your relationship. Do you want to talk about what sort of properties you host, both for yourself and, you do host for some other clients, don't you?
A couple, yeah.
Right.
Well, I suppose our properties, how we started off was the reason that we Airbnb was because we bought properties to hold for our retirement, and if you Airbnb it, you get such a greater return, so that you can pay off that property much quicker, which is perhaps not necessarily the accountant the way to go, but even if you put that money then in an offset account, so you don't pay off the loan, so you still can deduct your interest. But it is a fantastic way to build up your own wealth by basically paying off your property much, much quicker, which allows you also then to, expand more. So those properties was very much close to the city, close to public transport, and really that's what we concentrated on. Nowadays, it's a bit different. Those properties do well. One is close to the beach and the other one is close to Albert Park, so they do really well. But other properties that we host, well, you should take over from there.
Yes, I've got my mine and Harley's one-bedroom apartment that we bought and renovated, and we decked all the courtyard, so it's a really nice outdoor area and made it a little bit quirky, so it's a little bit different, and that goes really well. And being a one-bedroom, the return versus a three-bedroom house is a lot better considering your investment in it. So we've got that one, and then we've got another one who we do for a client, and that's, I think, on the 9th floor looking over St Kilda Beach. So when we do clients ones, we want something really different or really special, not just another house, because the really special ones are something that will catch people's eyes, do really well. So, that one's in St Kilda, on the border of St Kilda and Middle Park. So, yeah.
Oh, then the thing is that we're still working on, not anything that we have to do, we're just waiting on the client. He's got a most beautiful country house in Wood End, but it's like within 100 metres of the town centre. So that will do. So really well. Things like that will do. It's really quite grand when you walk in. So that will do quite well. Things that are just that little bit different. That, like I said, people catch, and they've always booked those properties. Always.
And so I did actually put a photo of your South Melbourne home property in the Facebook group when I was promoting this morning, Lilah. Do you mind just sharing the figures a bit, like what you bought it for, what you'd get on long term and what you're getting now?
Yeah. So we bought it for $419. We spent, I think it was $30,000 doing it. We gutted it and did everything. Then we got it revalued at $680. So that was a lot, and we earn about anywhere from $1,000 to $1,300 a week from it.
That's amazing. That's really amazing. And I think the point you make about it needing to be a special property, the days of any old property doing well on Airbnb have well and truly gone, haven't they?
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
Yeah. So it really is. And I think there's a big argument about the fact that Airbnb is taking over from, is sort of squeezing out people who need rental properties. I think it's important to make the point that your property needs to have some wow, which is what you're saying that you own. So that means that all the sort of run-of-the-mill, everyday types of properties probably shouldn't be going on Airbnb because they're probably not going to do very well anyhow.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, okay. And so when you're taking on a client, I'm assuming you have criteria.
Yes. I try and make sure that I can get along with them and that they're going to trust me to run it how it should be run and not try and interfere a lot, because the whole point of hiring me is to let me do what I'm good at. So that's probably the main thing that they understand, just like renting it out normally. You give it to an agent and then they deal with it. And if there's any problems or whatever, then I will, talk to them about if there's, something needs fixing, whatever. That's probably the main thing. I don't particularly want to deal with anyone too difficult because, it's not fun then.
No. If people are too precious, quite often, depending on the person, really, we generally like to deal with people who have an investment property, so they don't actually live there. We do make exceptions. Like I said, if we get on with the person and we know that they're going to be away for X amount of months, 6 months or something of the year, then we can work around that. But when it comes to other people who we perhaps don't know quite so well, it is much easier for us if it's an investment property, then they're not so precious. If not that anything has ever happened, but lo and behold, it'll be, grandma's crockery that'll
get broken
or whatever, and then, there's a whole disaster with that. So we don't do that type of complication.
Yeah, I think that's so. You went on the tour to Maggie's in Trentham, Mary, and that place is chock-a-block full of curios and gorgeous things. But the point that the owners made was that, operators, was that they don't sort of put anything in the home that they would be absolutely devastated if it was broken, because that's just a fact of life, and it's not about having disrespectful it's just accidents happen. So I think that's wise. And what about the styling? Do you let them do their own styling, or how do you manage that?
No, if it's already furnished, then we usually try and dress it up as much as we can. We usually say, this is how much it'll roughly cost, and try and let them allow me to style it how we want it to look, because that is obviously another huge factor. If it's not styled well, it's not going to be rented out. So, we try, and if they need new furniture, then I can help them with the new furniture, or if there's already furniture in there, then we try and style around the furniture and make it look as nice as possible.
So we went out shopping with someone the other day to buy new furniture or new lounge suites. And rugs and things like that. So that was quite fun, actually.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say that sounds like a really good job.
Yes, yeah.
It was, especially when we came in a lot under budget.
Yes, yeah, it was very good.
Yeah, that's awesome. I don't think that happens very often.
No.
Yeah. So I know that you sort of tend to go for longer stays. Is that across all your properties?
Yes, yeah. I put up on Airbnb minimum stay of 21 days always, and we'll only sort of drop it if we're getting to 2 weeks or even a week before, and a month is not being booked, then I'll drop it back to 1 week. I'll never do anything less than 1 week. Or if we've got 2 long stays and there's a gap in between, I'll also drop it. But again, only down to 1 week.
And are you finding that's fairly reliable in terms of getting occupied?
Yes, yeah, everything's booked out. At least, South Melbourne's booked out until May or June next year. My apartment's down till New Year, and Port Melbourne's also in the new year. It's all booked out. So we always have people. It's always booked out.
Oh, that's really, really good. And let's just go back to COVID. How did you go during COVID?
I think it was the first month or two.
The first 3 months.
3 months
actually.
were very quiet. One of the properties, we had a couple from America who permanently travel. They sort of got stuck here. So they ended up staying, I think it was 18 months in one of the properties. That was really good. And then the other two were really slow. So I just did a big group email to all the producers of all the films and TV series and everything, saying if you need accommodation, and we got a lot of business out of that. So that we're actually really busy. I think it was one of our best years was during COVID because of all the production companies.
Well, and so did you have a database? Is that a database you collected from other guests?
No, I just went online and looked up all production companies in the area or in Victoria, and I knew a lot of series were coming out. You sort of just Google it, what series are being filmed in Melbourne and things like that, and it shows you who produces them. So then I just found their email online.
Right, yeah. And are you building a database?
I've got a lot of producers' emails now through that, so they stay with you and they sort of forget about you. So you've got to just keep reminding them every time. Every probably 6 months that you're still there, and because they sort of just forget, and then they're like, oh yeah, we're looking for accommodation, but I don't think they have their own database, which is odd.
Yeah.
So you just got to keep reminding them you're there.
That's really good, because we're in business world, you probably know this. Email marketing is meant to be the holy grail, and a lot of people say email is dead, but that's really interesting. So because it's beautiful. And the fact that you've been able to identify that niche, and is that because you've had a lot of those types of guests before, or what made you think about looking at film crews?
Well, my husband's sort of in that industry, and he was just talking to me how the government were giving all these grants to productions to come film in Melbourne. And then we were talking about that, and then he's like, well, they actually always look for accommodation. So it was probably his idea. I'll give him the credit for that one.
Well, that's okay. But you know what? The idea is only half the job. It's the action that's what delivers the outcome, and that's really well done, Lilah.
Thank you.
Just going to go back to my trusty lot of questions. In terms of the type of property, what do you think is the best type of property to have on short-term rental? Is it a house? Is it an apartment? Is it a townhouse? What would you, if you, in an ideal world, if you could just pick what you took on, what would it be, and I guess why?
For us, probably the easiest and the most successful is the 1-bedroom apartment. It's really close to the city. It has a big outdoor space and has a car park. So they're rented out comparative to what the value is to what you get back is huge, and they're just non-stop in demand. So I would do, you could probably buy 2 or 3 1-bedroom apartments to a house, and you get a lot more return out of them.
Yeah. It depends what your main strategy is. Like I said, if you want good cash flow, the 1-bedroom apartments are great. Their capital growth is perhaps not as great as what a house is. So if you're buying to try and provide for your retirement, I'd probably do a mixture. I would buy a house that hopefully will increase in value over time, and with the 1-bedroom apartment for your cash flow.
Yeah. And I think what I've found is that the bigger the property, the more work, the more costs, the more people, the more risk of parties. Yeah, so yeah, and I definitely think the smaller ones are a lot easier to manage. So during COVID, we had the factory floor on, and we were pretty solidly booked the whole time because we allow pets. And a lot of people were doing renovations and needed somewhere to go with their pets. So yeah, it's important to find your niche, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
We don't advise that we allow pets, but if someone asks, it just depends on each individual. Yeah, it depends on the pet.
Yeah. Okay, so do you have an opinion on what areas in Melbourne work best for short-term rental?
There are two places in South Melbourne do a lot better than Port Melbourne, which is interesting because Port Melbourne is really lovely. I think anything close to the city without being in the city does really well. But Port Melbourne's on the beach. I don't know why that one doesn't do as well as the others. I think maybe because it's called Port Melbourne and people from overseas don't want to stay in a port. I think it's more shipping. We had one in Elwood that did quite well. Elwood's tricky because it's not near any public transport. It's a bit hard to get to. You have to have a car. Yeah, South Melbourne for us is definitely the best. Yeah. And the one in St Kilda West does quite well. Yeah.
And I would think inner city Melbourne, if you had a one-bedroom apartment right in the city, but something old, something that has a bit of character. Yeah. I think that would do well. And if you had parking, that would be really, really good. But not many come with parking. I think I always look at the apartments in the city and dream that that'd be a lovely place to stay.
Those really old buildings.
Yeah, beautiful old buildings. But I suppose that's where I would like to invest.
Yeah. And so I know that you have your own website and you're on Airbnb. Are you on any other platforms?
No, just those two. We were on Stays or whatever it's called now, but we had an incident where our TV was stolen, and they were not helpful at all. They're just, I did have a bond, security bond, which was I think $400. And they're like, oh, you just got to put your security bond up. And I said, yeah, but I was supposed to have a $3,000 security bond every time someone stays. I can't do that. Whereas Airbnb respond a lot better to claim. So I don't really use that one anymore. Just Airbnb and our website.
And so, where would you say most of your bookings come from? Do they come Airbnb, not even your own website?
You get I think it's probably about 65 to 70% from Airbnb, and then the rest through our website or through me emailing people or things like that.
Yeah, okay. And the other question I wanted to ask you, because I know you were doing this at one stage, is paid social media ads. So are you still promoting through Instagram?
No, it got a bit hard.
I think that I was really keen, especially after that talk that James gave. I got all really excited about it. The thing is, we were fully booked. So Lilah said it's a lot of extra work and she said, and what for really?
We've got no more houses.
It's not as if we don't have any other houses that we can rent out. So we've been a bit slack on
I think it's a great idea. I think if someone else did it, I would like it, but I don't.
Because I love looking at other people's Instagram. I think I think it's is it Katrina with Studio Even. I love her Instagram page because it always looks like it's a new place. It looks fantastic, but I don't have, to be quite honest, I don't have the energy to do it.
Finding the content, like the photos and things, is tricky.
Yeah, I'm not that creative. I'm afraid. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, like you said.
I was just curious to know. So, what's been the most horrendous, scary, or funny thing that's happened with your business?
We once had a 3-day party apparently at one of the properties. The neighbours didn't tell us. I don't know why they didn't call us, but they didn't. There was apparently limos rocking up, and
it was one of these ones. We went outside our criteria of who we would rent to. It was a last minute booking. We never do last minute bookings, but it sounded really genuine, you know.
And it was for like a week. So we're like, should be all right. It wasn't all right.
It wasn't all right. Yes, he was a photographer in Melbourne to do photography, but it wasn't of the Melbourne sites. It was all the models that he had rocking up in his limos to photograph. The neighbours were saying that there was quite a lot of noise going on as well, so they said they weren't very impressed. But we said, we should have rung us, we would have dealt with it. But
they didn't damage anything, luckily. It was just really
it was makeup. There's
makeup stains everywhere.
And that's I've learnt now how to get makeup off. But yes, but Airbnb were very good with that.
They were.
They paid for a lot of not only extra cleaning, but they paid for replacements, carpet or rugs and a chair.
Yeah.
So we were.
That's probably the worst thing.
Yes, that was probably the worst thing.
Yeah.
And you've certainly given the Airbnb insurance a workout, or it's actually called host guarantee, which is good because now we know we can rely on it.
Yes. Yeah.
They are very good.
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen. Thank you for being here. I think everyone will enjoy your tips and tricks on how you manage your listings. And congratulations on doing such an amazing job. Are you open to more clients if someone has a suitable property?
I think because once Port Melbourne sold, we'll be down a house, so we'll have a bit more time. Definitely.
Okay, beautiful. So we will include details of how to contact Lilah in the show notes. And thanks for coming.
Okay. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
This is the She Renovates podcast. To discover how to harness the power of renovating, check out theschoolofrenovating.com.